Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people, that's happy Thursday, guys. For those of you who don't know or not with hashtag Club K.W, it is Red Day. What Red Day is once upon a time, years ago, Keller Williams said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to be put action to the belief systems that we have. And so what they decided to do was once a year, the entire company shuts down essentially, and they go give back to where they live. They go give where they live, guys. They go donate at charities. They go help people clean up. They donate blood. They do all the things that follow our cultural belief system, which is coming from contribution. And we make sure that we put our money where our mouth is, to say, and we do it. We go do the thing. So congratulations to all those 200,000 agents right now who are going and giving back and making a difference and a change where they live. We get the opportunity today to be in Houston, Texas. Y'all, howdy, man. So yesterday we got to have the opportunity to pour into some awesome agents in New York State, and now we're in Houston to do the same thing tomorrow. But before then, we are going to do the G.R.O.W show. We're going to get our daily checkup from the neck up. Yesterday, we had the other half of the Brothers Evans, the hashtag womb-mate, and he was pouring into you guys about branding and marketing and making sure that your messaging is correct when it comes to the customer, when it comes to the experience that they're having, how they feel, where you fit in their story. Today, he's going to double down on that and go deeper into the service aspect and what that continues to look like at delivering expertise to our clients, to our customers, to our people at an insanely high level that they never forget, that makes them review you, makes them refer you, makes them come back for more and more. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet, the illustrious Casey Evans.
Yeah, man, that's great. Good morning, everybody. Thursday. I'm so happy that this was my message for today. It was not planned that way, but it is a huge message of mine because I own diners. I have worked in the hospitality industry in some form or fashion, from the diner aspect, obviously, to nightlife, to entertainment for 20 years. So this is near and dear to my heart. I'm actually writing a book about it. And we're going to get some of those concepts kind of from the book and apply it to, your real estate journeys in it, but it's applicable to any business, which is actually kind of the whole point of the book, is how hospitality relates to anything that you're doing. And it's going to tie back into your marketing as well, just like we talked about yesterday. So I think most agents, and this kind of leans into a little bit what we were talking about yesterday, are, worried about themselves, so to say, insofar as that's how they help their customers. Is they want to close, they want to make the deal, they want to make the sale, they want to make the money, and that's what we want for you. But that should not be your primary goal. I'm convinced that if you are of service, then your primary goal should be to serve your client, and therefore you will then make even more sales than you would have made had you just been worried about closing the sale. Serving the client is the number one item. So we're going to talk about how it relates to hospitality, right? So hospitality is not just, the warm cookies at the open house. So hopefully you are doing that. So that also goes back into the law of reciprocity. You're giving something. People are going to like you. And who doesn't like a sweet treat? I do. Went around the hotel this morning looking for one this morning already. But so let's just start with the hospitality driven things. So one of the things that, as servers and people of any industry, an item that you need to take into consideration is anticipate before they ask. So what do I mean by that? Table service, for instance, starts before somebody asks for something. If I see that drink running low, which is like the number one thing, how many people would like to just be sucking on their ice at the end? No, you want the server there with your refill ready. You want them to see you looking. If you're looking around, maybe you need to be pointing to the bathroom. These are things that I unconsciously do now, and that's what you need to be doing with your clients. So I wrote down some examples in my notes here. So an example, a client might say, like, we're getting overwhelmed, and you respond by showing a schedule with decision matrix, comparing homes, and not just the listings. Have all of these extra things in your. Anticipate the additional things that they have beyond the questions beyond just listings. I think you touched a lot about this in your talk yesterday, which made me think about it, like how comprehensive that your stack can be before ever get into it sets you apart. And you're talking about the listing meetings, and it
Mhm.
sets you apart. Like when all of a sudden you leave that listing meeting, they have a stack of not just the
stellar
comparable,
homework.
the comparable listings, but it sets you apart as a professional
Yeah.
and somebody that they really want to work with, somebody that has it all together. And those are the type of people that are going to be wanting to continue to do business with you or start doing business with you. You're anticipating their needs before they need them. We talked about that a little bit yesterday especially with your marketing piece of not just saying, hey, I'm the number one seller. I am somebody who gets your kids into a safe neighborhood or a good school district. I am someone who does X, Y, Z. You have to identify, again, anticipate what's important to your client. And then that's how you would then structure your marketing or how you even relate to them when it comes to conversational pieces as well.
I think one of the things on that note, the anticipation factor, we believe in Constellation that if a client calls with a question, we failed.
Oh, that's good.
If a client calls with a question, we failed. Now, is that a ridiculously high standard? Yes, of course. And it's one of those things that if you shoot for the stars and you land on the moon, you do an amazing job. Do they always call with questions? Yeah, sometimes. But one of the things that we do is we slow down and we see where the breakdown of the chain was. Did we not offer enough information at this point, at this point, at this point? If those questions keep arising, guys, you have a breakdown in your system. Something to think about.
So basically great service or being a great agent goes to not just being somebody who's great at reacting, but preparation. So be prepared for preparation, not for just reaction. Yeah, you can be a reactive person and solve all of their problems. You can answer the question when they call, but sure would be great for you to already have that for them before. They're going to be like, dang, that person knows it all, has it all. For me, now I have it all, so that's something to really think about. And then, so another one I wrote down is stay at the table after the bill comes. So service doesn't end when you pass the bill over, right? So for us at our restaurant, there's a little extra thing that we do at the end. People have already paid, checked out. We have like little gum and free mints. And depending on the time of year, Halloween candy, maybe Easter little Reese's eggs or something, some extra treat for our customer, something a little extra. Now, what does that look like for you as agents? Quarterly check-ins, market updates, birthday text, maybe a little gift, maybe a little home gift after the sale.
Year anniversary.
I think you guys, which I still use to this day, Kyle sold me my house, pizza cutter, fantastic gift. So if you aren't giving gifts or leaving your hospitality at the bill, then I think you're missing the mark. You're missing the mark for future business, and you're missing the mark to leave a lasting impression on that person that they're going to talk about you later. Now, in my home, there's a Kyle Evans and his phone number's on it. Pizza cutter that still gets used to say it was a good pizza cutter, but this doesn't have to look like spending thousands either. It can be something very simple. It can be handwritten notes.
Yeah.
And I do mean handwritten notes, not a pre-generated note that looks like it's in handwritten text, because everyone can tell the difference. But I think that goes a long way. And it shows that you value their business beyond the transaction. Yeah. And that's going to make them feel like a person, because we are in the people business. And I hope that you realize that is no matter what industry you're in the hospitality business, you're in the people serving business if you want to make more sales. I'm not saying you can't make sales any other way. I'm saying if you want to make more, you need to care about the people and what it is that you're selling.
Yeah, I tell this story a lot. There was a lady on stage one time, and I forget her name, but she was giving a message saying that essentially her business exploded, and she was doing like 400 homes a year, so it exploded when she started treating people like people instead of files.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that all goes into creating those moments that stick. That's these two things kind of tie in together. Is having that handwritten note, having even a moving day care package. I'm trying to think of other ideas of things that people can do that's not going to cost a lot. And they really will amplify your business.
Of course. It's the little extras along the way that add up to a big feeling or a big moment. What are the magical moments in between moments? that you guys can do to make sure that you stand out with, what's the book called? Unreasonable Hospitality.
Unreasonable hospitality. So that's really one of the driving factors that I try to impart upon my staff is doing what we can to make people feel extra, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be perfect. Nothing that you do will be perfect. And obviously that's true in the restaurant business, but it's true in every business. You're going to make mistakes, but working on preparing in advance for those mistakes, having systems in place, having things ready to go for your clients, and the way that you make them feel during that whole process. You can do everything wrong, and literally somebody can walk away and be like, oh, they were just trying their best. I really love that guy. I really love that girl. She was just such a hard worker. You know what I'm saying? And not even be upset by the end result. Like, you can literally make them walk away with a smile when everything went wrong.
Yeah,
and that's a fact. So yeah, it's going back to every business is in a relationship business. Real estate is a relationship business. And if you're only worried about the transaction, you are going to not make as many sales. You're not going to have as many referrals. You're not going to have as many people that actually care. And here's the thing. We're tying it back to marketing. You can't fake that in your marketing. People know when you're just trying to sell them. People know that when you're just trying to get something from them, and that's where people start getting trapped. They get into that scarcity or desperation mode because they want to make the sale. They want to close the sale. They need money. They want to feed their families. My contention is that by serving and giving, you're going to have much more on your plate than you ever would have expected. That's just what it means to be in a relational business. So yeah, I think when your systems are built around serving, your marketing becomes a lot more magnetic. And we'll talk about a little bit more of those things. I made some note examples for this. I love this liner that I came up with this morning, actually, while preparing for this, is great marketing. Oh, no, wait, hold on. Don't start with Canva, start with your calendar. So if you're trying to create great marketing, don't start with your calendar. Don't start with Canva, start with your calendar. So what does that mean? A lot of people, you were talking about this yesterday, and a lot of people are not using their social media properly right now. Either if you're not using social media in your marketing, you're behind. If you're not using AI to assist you with that, you're behind. That's a fact. You can choose to not use it, and that's fine. You can choose to not be of service to people, and that's fine. You will make less sales. That is, underline it, period. I'm not saying you won't make sales. I'm saying you will make less sales. So talking about the social media piece, people need ideas, examples, or whatever. Consider this, and this is for my realtors, but it's for everybody. You are the professional at your job. I am not a realtor. I am not a plumber. I am not anything other than, a restaurant owner, a business coach, entertainment, marketing, hospitality, right? I don't know about a lot of things. I have a server that is graduating who is going into nursing school or is graduating nursing school. I do not know things about the medical profession that she knows. Okay. You are the professional, meaning you know things that people do not know. You, for realtors, you took a licensing test to get here. You have information that people do not have. Do you think anybody can wake up tomorrow and pass that test that you did without studying or without anything? A resounding no coming from the side here. I can see in the camera. So anyway, so that's my point, is you already have all the information, education, and tools you need to create your marketing copy, to create videos, reels, etc., that educate your public, that give something, knowledge, to your client, that show them that you're an authority, somebody they want to work with for your client. These are things that help you sell. And these are the people are just get too wrapped up in what kind of content can I create. Talk about the things you know, and real estate. I know you know it because you passed your real estate exam.
One of the things on that, and I think it's so funny and poignant for this message, is a lot of times, like you said, the people listening, you are a professional in your field. You have knowledge. You have a particular set of skills that other people don't have. And a lot of times we downgrade the knowledge that we have, or we think we don't know more than we do, because sometimes we're comparing ourselves in the field to people who are the tippity top in the field. And so we think that we have less value. But the truth is that puts us even at the bottom of the field at the tippity top of real estate compared to John Q. Public.
Yeah.
So like, even if you're doing a video that's simply on how a contract works, most people don't know that. What is title? What is a cloud on title? How does financing work? Where do you begin? I have clients that still call and say, hey man, we want to buy a house, but we can't because we just don't have 20% down yet. I'm like, you haven't had to have 20% down since NOM. Like, it's been a while, but they don't know. So stop cutting your knowledge short because you're robbing the public, you're robbing your clients, you're robbing your database, your social media of valuable information that you can give them and come from contribution.
Yep, this all ties to service and marketing. You are giving something of value, and people appreciate that and want to do business with you. You're, again, establishing authority, and therefore people want to do business with you. Authority doesn't have to be, I'm the #1 realtor in the nation. I'm the #1 realtor in this thing. I have sold 1 million homes. Those are all very good. And maybe, but again, if you've sold 1 million homes, people are like, oh, well, that person's too big for me. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to worry about my little home. I just need a small home. They're a big shot. And I guarantee you most big shots want that money too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or they have a team that they can feed that money to. But going back to more of like the social media posts and kind of generating some ideas around this, like I like how you said that you're robbing people of value. People don't know things about title. People don't know the 20% down payment thing. These are things that, like, for instance, I'll give you an example that I just recently started, Marketing School Monday, and I make a little animated comic of just some marketing terminology that people don't know, but you hear it all the time. And I know people nod along like they know what it means. And, maybe they figured out from context clues, but I'm trying to bridge that gap. These are just terms that you hear regularly that you might not know what it means. And so this is just simple content, and it's giving away something of value and establishing me as authority on marketing. But let's go back to some social media examples. And these are things, we're going to tie this all together with the service day. These are service things that you can do or have done for your clients that will reflect in your marketing. So to kind of give you examples of that point that we were making earlier. All right. So have you ever walked a first-time buyer through a pre-approval process, with a calm and clear plan? If you've done that, that's a reel. You know what I'm saying? You can make a video about that. You can make a video about that process. You can make 5 videos about that process. Do you have a closing checklist? Do you have a pre-approval checklist maybe? Guys, not only can you provide these things to your clients for free, you can trade them as lead generating tools. So, hey, you guys want to, you guys need a closing checklist that, will make your life easier whenever you get to the table, whether it's with me or not, but they're probably going to want to work with you after this. Here's the secret, just send me your email and I will send you this checklist. Okay. So not only are you giving them something of value and invoking that law of reciprocity and being of service, you've also collected an email, and that's somebody that you can put into your nurture campaigns. Hopefully you're creating nurture campaigns for your people that are on your list if you want to talk marketing. That's more things that we can get into on another day. But also, you got a warm lead. Guess what? Somebody who's not looking for a house or to buy or to sell is not looking for a house closing checklist.
They do not want your checklist.
So if you have just got an email from a warm lead for your real estate business or for whatever business you're creating these checklists for, this is the main audience of the Grow Show is realtors right now, but this is applicable to every single business. Trade something of value for an email, and the email is your warm lead. These are somebody who is interested in the thing that you have, or selling or promoting or service you're providing.
You've also seen the increase, if you guys are paying attention and reading between the lines, for a lot of these major businesses, or frankly any business that you see online, almost all of them now are making the email the key to the next step.
Yes.
Do you want this discount? Do you want this coupon? Do you want why? Because that email they can drip on, they can market to you, they can nurture you forever.
And here's the reality. You own that email. You don't own the stuff that you put out on Facebook and Instagram and whatever, that can all be taken away from you. That can all be deleted, and there's a block or whatever locked on it. You have an email collected. You can write it down on a notebook, piece of paper, fold it up, put it in your pocket, and they can't take it from you. So that's one reality. The other reality is, and I wish I had this stat because it was staggering when I saw it. And but email marketing, the ROI on the spend is like 4,000% or 400%. I can't remember. Either one is vastly superior to the other forms of social media marketing. So email is still king. If you have a solid drip campaign, then you will nurture those people at a much higher rate than just putting it out into the ether, where you're only getting 10% of your followers see this on Instagram or any other social media. Email, you send it to 100% of your people, and 100% of your people get it. Now you need to make it compelling, so 100% of your people will open it. But anyways, yeah. So I would have, if I would have thought we were going to harp more on email, and look that stat up, but look it up. I think it's a GitHub or HubSpot stat that I read that on. But it is eye-opening, And again, you own this stuff. This is not something that can be taken away. This is not something that only gets pushed to 10% of your people. This is now your relationship that you can personally cultivate. You can contact this person. So we're going back to a relationship. We're going back to being of service. You're delivering something of service, and you're now creating a relationship with somebody that you don't necessarily get when you're just posting messages out into the ether. And so anyways, yeah, so create that checklist, create something of value that you can trade for an email. That's your lead generator. If you really just want to put it out there too for the world, then make a carousel. Like, hey, 1, 2, 3. These are the things that you need. Or hey, maybe give them a little taste. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you want the other 10, trade me that email. Give them, these are all things that will help you with your marketing and being of service and of value. Did you follow up with a client after closing, to ask how the dog likes his new backyard?
I can't harp on that one enough, guys. Please know your clients.
So right, that's you. All right, so you want to create brands that people return to. Create that kind of loyalty. Get to know your clients. So that's one of the things that we talk about a lot in the service industry, and that's because we want returning customers. We want regulars. Guess what? So does every other industry. You guys might it looks a little different because you're not meeting them every day, but this is how you create brand loyalty, is getting to know your customers, having those conversations. Servers do it at the table. You guys do it at the closing table, maybe, so maybe it all happens over a kitchen table. But my point is that if you want to create relationships, like you said, get to know your clients. Again, send that message, a couple months later. Hey, how's your dog like the new backyard? Whatever thing that you got to know about them is the thing that's going to create that brand loyalty. It's going to create that stickiness. It's going to create that relationship to you. Again, we're in the relationship business. Every business is in the relationship business. You are in the hospitality business, no matter what you do. So I want to wrap up with a couple more points. How much time we got? Okay, we're a little over time. So I'm just going to summarize this up then. So you want to build trust before the transaction by preparation. Have those questions answered beforehand. Share stories, not stats. So that's kind of what I was getting into with the first-time buyer approval, the walking people through things, whatever. These are your reels. Your reels don't just have to be, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I sell real estate, and you should work with me because I care about you. Show them how you care about them. Tell them what you did with customers. Tell them what you will do. Like you could be a realtor day one and tell them what your intentions are and how you would walk a customer through this thing. And people are like, oh man, that dude's fresh. He hasn't been tainted by the money. He gets it, or she gets it.
He's not jaded by the industry yet.
So I'm just saying this isn't just for people who have a long history and lots of stories to share. You can be story oriented instead of stat oriented to sell without even having the story yet, if that makes sense. Because that's part of your story. Reflect your service and your messaging. That kind of all ties back to what we just kind of got ahead of that bullet. And your content should feel like a conversation, not just a sales pitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Casey was just pouring on you like a fire hydrant this morning. So go back, listen to it. There's a lot of nuggets throughout this process. And man, take the time. That's the whole thing. Take the time to assess your messaging, your service. Are you anticipating? Are you continuing after the close to nurture that relationship? And are you telling your story properly? I think the quote of the day from you, for me, is tell stories, not stats. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, Kyle Evans, Casey Evans, we are the Brothers Evans. Happy Red Day, happy Thursday, wherever you're at. Go make it a good one, and see you tomorrow morning, bright and early.